Good morning. Welcome to Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion with me, Pastor Amanda. Tuesday morning, and we're taking a look at chapter 25 of the Acts of the Apostles. So, if you remember yesterday, what happened is that Felix was not about to kind of do anything with Paul, and so he just kind of left it to the next guy, Festus. And so now we've come into Festus's reign at this point in time. And if you want to know anything about church politics, this tells you how it works, I think, more often than not, or at least in some cases, not every case, but in the unhealthier ways. This is how sometimes things work. So what we find is that that Festus arrives in his province now, and he decided to go ahead and go to Jerusalem, and there he met up with the Jewish contingency, so to speak, and they told him, we've got this guy, Paul, who is just causing all sorts of problems, and we want him to be transferred back to Jerusalem so that we can try him on our own. And it even says in here, the reason they're asking this is because they want to ambush and kill him again somewhere along the way. So what Festus does, being new to the area, he's kind of like, well, why don't you guys, whoever's in authority here, join me in Caesarea? So we'll go back to where Paul is and we'll have a trial there. And so it says that, so Festus stays with them for a while, 8 or 10 days. We're not quite sure, but 8 or 10 days. And then he went on to Caesarea. And what happened is then they have their tribunal. But it says in here, just slightly before this, is that Festus kind of wants to do them a favor. He's trying to get on the Jewish authorities' good side. So he wants to do a favor for him. So that's why he's kind of going through all of this. He really wants to be liked. He wants to be accepted and approved. And so he kind of goes into this already wanting to do a favor for the Jewish people. So when they arrive, they bring Paul out, and it's like they have these serious charges. They're like, oh my goodness. And yet Festus is kind of like, I don't know that these are that you, like, this is just a disagreement. This isn't chargeable offense. This is just, you guys don't quite believe the same thing. And Paul says it. He goes, I've done nothing wrong by their laws, and I've committed nothing that deserves death, he says. And he goes, if you think I deserve death, he goes, I want to appeal to the emperor. So, as a Roman citizen, Paul has this right. But what we see then is Festus is like, I wanted to do a favor for these guys, so I'm going to pass it on to be somebody else's problem. Always passing it on to somebody else, I tell you. So, what happens is then the king comes into Caesarea, and it says, it mentions every time with King Agrippa that Bernice is with him. I love that. Bernice is mentioned, that she's present. We don't hear much from her, but she's there. So it's really, I think that's really neat that we still see these influential women present, especially in times of authority and stuff like that. So anyways, Festus lays out Paul's kind of argument before the king. And what happens is that the king then is like, I need to talk to this Paul guy myself. Like, what you're talking about is menial. Like, what's the point? These are just, these aren't even big charges. They're just disagreements. And so he says, like, I want to hear Paul for myself. I want to see what's going on. And Festus is like, I would, I need this because I've got nothing to charge against him. So if you charge him, I'll have something to charge him with. Again, people just passing the buck to the next person because they don't want to deal with just relationship conversations. We disagree, so we need to talk about this. What are they trying to do? Ambush him, kill him, put him in jail. It's like, really? Really? Just because you believe something differently. And so we find out at this point in time that, at this point in time, we're just kind of waiting for him to be examined. And so we'll see what King Agrippa does tomorrow. But when we recognize that this is kind of centuries common behavior of just passing the buck to the next person, how are we doing that in our own faith? How we push off the responsibility to someone else along the way. And maybe it's even at work that we're not doing something that we could be doing. If you think about it, we pass the buck all the time. You're walking through the parking lot and you see a piece of trash. Do you go and just pick it up because we're all here to help the earth? Or do we say, that's somebody else's job. They're supposed to clean that up. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we're always passing the buck to someone else when really we have the authority. We have the power to be able to take care of something, but we release it. We say it's somebody else's problem. And I mean, I guess there's the good and the bad of that. There's the good in knowing that we have this ability to do something. The bad is that it's been going on for so many thousands of years. Like, we haven't overcome the tiniest of problems from thousands of years ago, and it makes us understand why we struggle with some of the problems we're having today. And so it's like, it's always been around, but we still have this opportunity to become different, to change, to use the gifts given to us to help out. But it's going to take some effort and responsibility on all of our parts. And so that's kind of what I got out of today. Maybe that's a stretch for some. But I just recognize how there's this just somebody else's problem. But when are we going to take it on ourselves? When are we going to say, let me be a part of the solution versus just trying to do favors and be nice and be kind to everybody? Sometimes you just have to do the hard work of being in a relationship. And so I hope you got something out of this, and share with me if you found something different in it today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow with Hope, Faith, and Joy's daily devotion. And again, a reminder, we're getting ready to finish Acts, and I would love people's insight if you prefer to go to Genesis after this or keep going on, moving forward into Romans. So I've gotten a little bit of feedback, but I'd love some more. So please tune in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Bye.